Hello everybody and welcome back. With today I just wanted to make another small video following up from yesterday's, because usually I put out a video like that on a piece of news and I get a lot of comments talking about, certain aspects of the video and the talking points and contributing to them, and I read them and I reply in the comments. But there was one certain comment from a couple of people that was repeated that I found really interesting as a talking point to discuss the future of PSVR2. Because yesterday's video focused on the PC support for PSVR2 that's coming and how we think it's going to be a plug-and-play solution, and a couple people, as I predicted, thought that they'd be left out to dry by Sony because they own a PS5 and now it's going to be transferable to PC and they don't get any benefit from that, and I want to talk about that a little bit more. And also along with the fact that some people brought up the point that, does this mean that we're going to get less PSVR2 ports on PS5 because now it's going to be compatible with PC? There's no point in porting it to the PS5, which is another interesting talking point that, even though I'm not the most educated in the world on, by far, I do have a couple thoughts on, and even though I'm not guaranteed to be right, I wanted to kind of give my input and talk about it because it's an interesting conversation to have. I guess the first thing I want to talk about is that I don't think this is Sony really washing themselves clean of VR and hanging up the towel to dry and just leaving it out for PSVR2 and VR in general. They've stated that they're committed to VR in the future. They're also bringing out a industry professional level VR headset more for work and for modeling and for actual workflows rather than gaming. So they're committed to the VR space, in my opinion. I could be wrong. Maybe we'll never get PSVR 3. Maybe we'll get no more AAA games. But in my opinion, that shows to me that they are pretty committed to VR. And I don't think bringing PSVR 2 over to PC is the nail in the coffin for PS5 support for PSVR 2 and Sony's interest in VR in general. It's another way of generating revenue from a headset that they've already built. They've made 2 million of these headsets, if we're going off the estimates from the start of production and from launch. Maybe they're sitting on 700,000 or 500,000 more headsets that have been unsold. This is a good way to get those units moving and to get more money into Sony's pocket, essentially, from their VR division, which I understand. It's a smart business move, and it's also exciting for us consumers. But no, I don't think we're going to stop getting support from Sony in terms of VR. We're going to keep getting firmware software updates for PSVR 2. We're going to keep getting improvements, whether that comes in the form of the PS5 Pro eliminating some reprojection, or just an improvement in the reprojection tech and updates in the future. Maybe controllers sold separately, I think will happen at some point. But yeah, I don't think Sony's done with VR, and I don't think that this announcement is the nail in the coffin for VR in general for Sony at all. However, I do want to acknowledge a couple comments, as I said earlier, that were saying how they felt kind of left out. This is a PC-focused announcement, and I guess that's why they tacked it on to the end of the blog post they announced it on when it was originally announced, the anniversary of PSVR 2, because it's not really a big thing for the PSVR 2 player base that's based on PS5. The reason it was just a sentence in the middle of that, and not this massive fanfare of an announcement, is because it doesn't really concern PS5 users that much. It's something that will get picked up and pushed towards the PC crowd, but they don't want to be advertising that the PSVR 2 can be used on PC through a direct link cable, which is what we think it's going to be now based on evidence, to an audience that doesn't care. You don't want to be waving that in front of the audience that has invested in your platform and your console. The fact that they can't use the headset on the PC, which is what you're announcing now. So I understand why they didn't really push that too hard, and I do get it from a consumer point of view where you've invested in this ecosystem, as have I. I mean, I PC VR game as well, which is why I'm excited for this. But also my primary VR space is the PSVR 2 on PS5. It's where I find it most easy to play. I find the eye tracking amazing and the haptics great. That's why I focus on this ecosystem, and I really love it. And I really do get the fact that people who are locked in here, they get no benefit from this. So that's the second point I wanted to cover, is I do understand that, and it's something that you should probably, communicate. I mean, maybe they'll think of a solution for PS5 players to access some PC games. Maybe they'll push to get games like Half-Life Alyx onto the console. Just keep talking about it, get your voices heard. And lastly, we talk about things from a developer side. Does this mean that developers will no longer want a PSVR 2 version and PS5 version of their games now that the PSVR 2 can be used on PC in the foreseeable future? In my opinion, no. No, I don't think the developers will stop PS5 ports, because, let's be honest, when they make a port for the PSVR 2, it's not the OLED panels, the eye tracking, or the haptics that gets them excited to port a game to the PS5 and PSVR 2. It's the purchases and the money they can get from it which is usually the bottom line, especially for bigger studios. For some indie devs I've spoken to personally, they've been really excited to see what, the game looks like on the console and to take advantage of the features. Don't get me wrong, that is a big part of it, but ultimately it's another platform to expand to get more sales from a port. And that platform is still going to be there even when the PSVR2 can be used on PC. There's still going to be this massive platform and user base on PS5 that's ready to eat up these games and buy them constantly, and that's the reason games will keep getting ported. It's great that you can play these games on PCVR with the PSVR2 in the future, but that's not going to generate an extra sale for a developer, whereas porting to the PS5 potentially will. So ultimately, I think it's not going to end up with less PSVR2 ports of already existing games. The games that have been announced to come along will still do, and I think more will in the future. And I don't think this spells the end for PSVR2 support by Sony or from smaller developers. So that's what I just wanted to cover in today's video while I'm working on some more reviews and stuff for the future. Thank you all for watching. Please do let me know what you think of this in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? It's a load of fun having conversations in the comments about topics like this because it gives me something to pick up and talk about every day when you guys bounce back at me and give me talking points to talk about either in the comments or in videos like this, which is usually a rarity. I'm usually very busy with reviews and stuff, but I'm currently working on those. So I thought today would be fun to kind of take and lift up some of the points you guys have said in the comments and bring them to further light and talk about them more in depth. So let me know what you think of it in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Thank you to our patrons, Hazeep Mirza, Ace Gamer, Phil Irving, and Luke Bentley. Your guys' donations keep the channel running day after day and month after month. If you want to join the Patreon or YouTube membership, the link is in the description below, starting and ending at $3 a month. Thank you for watching once again, and I hope to see you all in the next video.